Hey, what up, guys? Welcome to Mount Fitness MBS Ministry, where I am your host, Brother Minister Mongoose, and where this ministry is living and promoting a holistic mind, body, and spirit path to health and wellness and to life overall, and where this ministry is simultaneously putting a premium emphasis on the group of people that the Bible refers to as the have-nots. Oh, and by the way, that includes the have-nots all across the board. Finances, resources, equal opportunity, fairness, justice, love, peace, a sense of direction, purpose, and fulfillment in life, joy. If that sounds like you, if that sounds like someone that you know, a community that you know, or if it just simply sounds like a message that resonates with you, either way, I say to you, welcome home. Towards the end of the video, I'll briefly mention some services that are provided by this ministry that are designed to help strengthen, nourish, and revitalize the mind, the body, and the spirit of all those whose hearts are in the right place. Which is to say, you don't have to be amongst the have-nots, but the truth be told, we're all amongst the have-nots in our own little unique ways. No one has it all together. No one's living a perfect life, no matter how it may seem that way from the outside looking in. So, having said that, guys, let's get off into today's message. You know, we cross a myriad of paths. This is a journey filled with ups and downs and highs and lows and ins and outs and truth and waking up to the falsehoods that we had been beholding to prior to the revelation of truth, etc., etc. The thing that we are born with, which is this warrior spirit, regardless to in what way and to what degree you have been given that spirit to war, you've been given that spirit. This is expressly why the Bible says, put on the whole armor of the Lord. It doesn't say let the warriors, let those who are anointed for battle, everyone that is a believer, and I'm using Christianity simply as a point of reference because all of the different religions, spiritual teachings, philosophies, and so forth and so on, they talk about one being divinely mandated to stand up for themselves and to make war against this thing that we call the devil, evil, darkness, lies, deception, etc., etc. So, we're all given this gift and this requirement to war, to put on the whole armor of the Lord. It's not for a specific group of people, and we all know that you don't put on the armor for battle if you're going to a picnic, a barbecue, a wedding, a graduation, a high school reunion, and so forth and so on. You put that battle or garment, if you will, you put that on because you're headed into battle. This is where we're heading in. This is what we're predestined and again required to fight against those who fight against us. The darkness that pushes against the light, even though we know that is the great oxymoron, darkness cannot push against light, but during the phases of our initial awakening and our journey of exploring, advancing, and realizing who we are, there is this, I'll use that word loosely, there is these situations, circumstances, and seasons where the darkness battles against the light, but only again until we awaken to the fact that, we're light. And just like when you walk into a room, you turn the light switch on, there's no battle taking place. That's it. It's over. You light a candle, the whole room could be dark, but wherever you wield and hold that candle, that darkness flees. There's no battle taking place. So that will be seguative into where we're going today. Because I want to say to you guys, having this warrior spirit, which again, it's given you by the ultimate power of the universe, you are required and mandated to fight. But one of the things that we eventually come to learn, and some of you guys have already cleared this hurdle, some of you guys are right on the precipice of entering into, confrontation or the awareness of this hurdle, and some of you guys are in the throes of it. But either way, we get ourselves, by the grace and the divine timing of this thing that we most commonly refer to as God, we get ourselves to the point to where we realize, even though we have this warrior spirit, we're going to always have that warrior spirit. We're always going to set and enforce boundaries. But a very, very unknown and therefore unutilized attack on the enemy in that warfare is peace. It's peace. In the middle of that warfare, the main, or one of the absolute main weapons that you have at your disposal, given to you by this thing that we call God, is peace. A peace that surpasses all understanding. When you, through trial and error, through the initial stages of your awakening, through the ups and downs, the bumps and bruises, your consistency and your persistence in walking this path, we all end up with the fact that, hold on a second. Peace is one of the greatest attacks in the battlefield, on the battlefield. Peace. Walking in peace. So I'm going to be encouraging you guys, and I'll begin to speed this up because I'm already nearly 10 minutes in. I'm going to be encouraging you guys to let peace be your weapon. Let peace be your weapon of choice. I want you guys to exit stage left when it comes to that battlefield. And I'm not saying exit stage left in a defeated way, but in a way that been there, done that, have overcome that. We all go through these seasons, these times where, again, fighting back and resisting and counterattacking and, all these different things, these are par for the course. We have to learn how to do those things. But after having gone through that over a certain period of time, according to his divine timing, we all ultimately arrive at the point to where that's not even in and of itself necessary. Battling, fighting, counteroffensives, evasive maneuvers, resisting and rejecting. There's no need for that. Again, once you've cleared those hurdles, you end up realizing that peace, you end up becoming aware that peace is one of the greatest weapons that you wield. So again, let peace, for those of you that are ready. If you're not ready, then don't fake it, because this peace can't be faked. It has to be a 100% real, true, organic sense of peace in and on the battlefield. So I encourage you, if you're there, if you're ready to take this next leap, then by all means do so. If you're not, then where you are meant to be in terms of still counterattacking, blocking, shielding, resisting, all that stuff, if that's where you currently are, then that's where you're meant to be right now. You have to go through that phase. You can't go from 5th grade, to a college grad. You have to go through the process. So if you're there, stay there. Ultimately, you will arrive at this point that I'm talking about. And for those of you who have gone through so much on that battlefield, you've defended, you've protected, again, you've launched attack, you've shielded against counterattack, you've, again, offensive maneuvers, etc. You've been through that, and you're ready to take that next leap of faith. That next leap that's been made known to you deep down in your spirit, that you've outgrown the battlefield in that sense. You don't finish the 3rd grade or the 5th grade. You don't finish high school and then go back to high school. So some of you guys out there, this is resonating with you because, again, you've put in the hard work. As they would say, the blood, the sweat, and the tears. Battling. And now it's time for you to move on and let peace be your weapon of choice. It's time for you to stop fighting and start flowing. It's time for you to stop resisting and start receiving. You don't have to block their energy. You don't have to block their attacks. You don't have to launch a counteroffensive. Receive the truth of the matter and maintain peace within that truth. And in doing so, you become unstoppable. You become unreachable. When you're operating at this peace that surpasses all understanding, you become unreachable. When you go from fighting to flowing, the old saying, roll with the punches. I'm not trying to block all these punches in this. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to see the truth about it. And I'm going to maintain my peace in the midst of the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, the attempts to sabotage, the betrayal, the lies, the deception, the rudeness. I'm just going to maintain my peace. When you go from fighting to flowing, and when you go from resisting to receiving, you also go from surviving. You go from survival mode to creation mode. I'm going to say that again. You go from survival mode to creation mode. And your enemies, who are about death and destruction, cannot stand, they literally cannot stand and survive in the presence of one or someone that's creating love, positivity, hope, confidence, faith, resilience, joy, and so forth and so on. Those that are about destruction cannot stand in the presence of those who are about creation. And you go from survival mode to creation mode. Every honest embodiment of peace is an attack on your enemies. Every genuine, every organic, remember, it can't be faked. It can't be pretended. Every single act, every single deed, every single thought, every single response, every single non-response that's born out of true peace, it's a shot, it's an arrow through the heart of your enemies. Now we know it, they may not acknowledge that initially. They may try and take that as weakness, or they may try and say, well, I won. He ain't even fighting back. She ain't even fighting back. She ain't resisting no more. He ain't arguing no more. I've won. They fold it up. They may start there. But just like there's a process that we have to go through, they have to go through a process too. Because it's all just a matter of time before they realize, oh no, they feel horrible around you. They feel horrible around you. They start off saying, oh yeah, I got this. They ain't even attacking no more. They ain't even defending themselves. This is how it's going to appear in the eyes of those who lack good old-fashioned common sense. Especially when it comes to spiritual consciousness and common sense. So they're going to start off there. There may be this little brief period where they would say, a honeymoon. Yeah, I got the victory, girl. I got the victory, homie. I say this to her, she don't even resist no more. I do this to him, he just going about his business. He don't want this. He don't want it with me. But oh, how fast, how soon the tables will turn. The longer and the more you stand in true organic peace. There is a special, I'm going to say that again, there is a special kind of suffering for those who launch attacks against those who have learned how to maintain their peace in the midst of that attack. There's a special kind of suffering that's waiting for them. And it will find them. They will arrive at that point to where they wake up one day and realize that they have to sit in the stench of their own lies, their own betrayal, their own deception. Because as long as you were fighting with them, they felt justified. They felt motivated. You know, a pig doesn't care about losing in the wrestling match in the mud. The pig just happy to be wrestling in the mud. But when you don't wrestle that pig in the mud, the pig is sat there. The pig is forced to sit there and realize, wow, I smell pretty ashamed of myself. I'm pretty disgusted, with the way I look and the way I carry myself. This is what your peace does to them. This is the arrow through the heart of your enemies. And it's unavoidable and it's inescapable. Every single time you're able to maintain your peace in the midst of the storm, the attack, the rudeness, the disrespect. During the initial phases of you doing so, and even prior to you having arrived at that point to where you're able to realize my peace is a powerful weapon. My peace destroys chaos, destroys evil, destroys darkness. Before sometimes even you get there. And certainly when you do get there, you begin to realize that, okay, there was some seeming, some superficial success that your enemies were having. You noticed that. And you probably went through this phase where you were asking God, like, how is this working? I'm the one with the clean heart and the good intentions in this equation. How is it that things are not turning out or moving ahead with me, but they're getting a job, they're getting a promotion? How can this be? But as you continue to work on and become more efficient and proficient at maintaining your peace, you soon begin to realize that you're not intimidated by their so-called success, because you know it's temporary. You know it's pretty much an illusion. You know that it does absolutely nothing for their soul. Like they're still bitter, they're still sad, they're still rotten, they're still insecure, they're still afraid, they're still jealous. It's done nothing for them. So again, at a point, you begin to realize you're not bothered by their success, because again, you realize it's an illusion, it's temporary. And you know that at the end of the day, while they're riding that temporary wave of success, they're still empty. You know they're empty. And you know that success that they're riding on is tantamount to being on a first-class jetliner, soaring and cruising at 25,000 feet with the champagne, the cocktails, and the music, but the airplane doesn't have any landing gear. You know that. Your peace nourishes you with this understanding. Your peace nourishes you with the understanding that they have purchased themselves a first-class ticket on the Titanic. So while they're celebrating, while they're hoopline and dancing and dressed up nice and listening, to the music and drinking fine wine, you're sitting back knowing what time it is. And when they do, and they will, when they do hit that iceberg, it's just the way it is. The universe doesn't reward ugliness with anything other than ugliness. But when they hit that iceberg, when it's time for them to land from 25,000 feet and they got no landing gear, your peace has enveloped you so much to the point to where not only were you begin to not even be concerned about their so-called victories, their so-called promotions, but you've been enveloped by that peace to the point to where you're not even concerned about their downfall. You knew like now we know the story of what happens when you get on the when the Titanic takes off. We know what happens. We know what happens when it's time for that jetliner to try and land. So when it happens to them, you're not gloating. You're not celebrating their pain, their collapse. You fully understand that it's just divine karma doing exactly what divine karma does. Your peace has enveloped you to the point to where, just like with their success, just like with their failures, their collapse, you're too busy focusing on your own path. You're too busy focusing on your own peace. You're too busy prioritizing your own purpose in life. So when they're soaring at 25,000 feet, you ain't bothered by it. When they crash, you just look over there, you're aware of it, you're not celebrating it, you're like, man, if there was ever a it just is what it is moment, that would be it. You're too busy focused on you and your own peace. So again, as I begin to wrap this up, for those of you that are ready, the next step is now. It begins now, like literally, right now. For some of you guys, it's been creeping up. But something about the last couple of days, maybe today in particular, made it clear to you that you just exit the battlefield. There's no war going on. You're just not on that frequency. You're just too busy operating in peace. And you know the outcome of what happens when one gets on the Titanic. Unfortunately, some of these people, they already know. When you look back on your life, and some of the very people that are trying to connive against you, trying to secretly compete against you, and do all the goofy little things they do with their witchcraft, you know, looking back on your life, and again, with some of the people that are partaking in those type of activities against you, they know as well because they've been around you to have seen it. They've seen what happens to those who get on the ice on the Titanic. They've seen with their own eyes what befalls those who pit themselves against you. They've watched people try and steal your ideas, business ideas, whatever kind of ideas. They've watched people try and steal those plans and blueprints and then go and start that company or that business only to a year, 2-3 years later to be broke, in debt, strung out on alcohol. They've seen this. They've seen people that try to secretly compete against you and lose some weight. Only for a short period down the line, they're as big as a house. The universe only rewards ugly with ugly. You've seen that when you look back on your life. The people that wronged you, that talked about you, that betrayed you, time and time again, you see them or you hear about them beat up, overweight, strung out on drugs, in insane asylums, their relationships, the person that that they counted on betrayed them. They always end up worse than they were before. You've seen it, and some of these people that are engaged in that have seen it. But if they have chosen to get on that ice, that Titanic, it's got nothing to do with you. Keep moving in peace. If they have chosen to get on that jetliner and take off with all the amenities and have fun and party and hoopla and drink themselves crazy, you know what happens. And they do too. They always end up worse. They always end up worse. Much, much worse. And this is attributed to the fact that, first of all, the universe only rewards bitter fruits or a bitter harvest to those who have planted bitter seeds. It's unavoidable. It's inescapable. Your job, where you are now, is to maintain that peace and let peace be your weapon. You ain't got to retaliate. You ain't got to pray for nobody's downfall. You ain't got to wish nobody no harm. You ain't got to retaliate. You ain't got to set no traps. You just sit back and let the universe sort itself out. When you're operating in peace, you're not committed. You're not adding to the chaos. You're not adding to the bickering and the fighting. You're just sitting back, grounded in peace. And you let the universe sort itself out. So stop walking into that toxic environment, wherever it's at. And for those of you that are ready, stop walking in there and feeling the need that you got to resist this and reject that and watch out for this and counter move over that. No. You've grown beyond that. Peace now is your weapon of choice. To just stop resisting and start receiving. Oh, I see the games. I see the lunacy. I see the buffoonery. And in the past, I may have blocked and resisted and rejected and counter-maneuvered. No, 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 no. It's time for me to let peace. It's time for you to let peace be our weapons of choice. Knowing that in doing so, we kind of like expedite their own demise. We kind of like get out of the way so that their karma can be served to them. As long as we were in the way, the Bible says, vengeance is the Lord's. We try to take vengeance in our own hands. Fighting and battling. I mean, we're going to always be warriors. I started off with that. Set a boundary, enforce it. But as far as being on that battlefield with these people that you have transcended, with this attitude, with this energy, with this mindset that you have transcended because you realize, oh, peace. Oh yeah, you want to come this way with some chaos? No problem. I'm just going to go that way. You want to come over here looking to start some trouble and start an argument? No problem. I'm just going to go that way. Gone are the days where we're fighting back on a battlefield, in an area, in an arena that we have transcended. No, we're just going to walk in peace. Again, and let the universe sort it out. And the universe don't make mistakes. Divine karma is a real thing. It cannot be avoided. Not by you, not by me, not by anybody that is, was, or ever will be on this planet. The laws of divine karma is real. All you gotta do is go out there and plant some roses. See if you plant some roses and your harvest is dandelions. See if you plant some oranges and your harvest is cucumbers. We get back exactly what we sowed. When we walk in peace and get out of the way, peace becomes our weapon of choice. That expedites them because they're fast forward. They're fast forward in their ignorance. They've doubled down in their ignorance. Even though some of them have seen it with their own eyes. It's our time to just let peace be our weapon. Again, and let God sort it all out. Hey, I got to get out of here, guys. I'm at 33 minutes. The services that are provided by this ministry are designed to help strengthen and nourish the mind, body, and spirit. The services for the mental fitness is philosophical counseling and or youth and young adult mentoring and counseling, depending on the age. There's also a variety of clean-hearted spiritual teachings and practices that are age-appropriate, that are designed, obviously, to help strengthen and nourish one's spiritual self. And when it comes to one's physical self, there's certified fitness training, again, age-appropriate. If you have any questions or if you'd like to schedule your initial consultation and evaluation in either or perhaps even all of those different compartmentalized areas of services, please hit me up by way of the email link down in the description box. If you got any value out of today's message, please show your love. Show your love, guys. Give back to this ministry. Keep in mind that the more you give to this ministry, whatever it is, just liking the video, just leaving a comment, just subscribing, whatever it is. There's also a Cash App link down in the description box if the Holy Spirit moves you to make a monetary donation, whether it's a small, one-time buy me a cup of coffee donation, or if it's something, more consistent or more in the amount. Whatever good seed you plant into this ministry, I supernaturally release back to you the abundant harvest that the universe has promised you and I whenever we plant good seed in any good ground. So receive your harvest by faith, guys. He is a helper to those who are a helper of others. So if you want love, you got to plant a seed of love. You want some encouragement, you got to plant a seed of encouragement. This is what I live by, guys, and this is what the universe operates on. You guys all know that. So again, whatever good seed you plant into this ministry, receive your harvest by faith. Also, please know that it means more to this ministry than you can imagine. Thank you guys so very much. I love you all. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. But I want you guys to go out there and know Let them think it's because you're a coward. Let them think it's because you've lost. Let them think it's because you're slow. Let them think it's because you don't know. Let them think it's because you're afraid of them. Let them think whatever they think. Just choose peace as your weapon of choice. Walk in your peace. You ain't got to battle. You ain't got to fight back. You ain't got to push back. You ain't got to show that you know what's going on. You ain't even got to let them, you ain't even got to verbalize it. Yeah, I know what's going on. You don't have to do anything. This is where a lot of you guys are. This is where a lot of us are nowadays. Peace has become our weapon of choice. And oh, what a powerful and oh so devastating weapon it is to all those who strive on darkness, corruption, deceit, fear, keeping people small, betrayal, all those things. Peace is a devastating weapon, and peace has now become our weapon of choice. This is what I got for you guys. I love you all. Reach out if I can be of assistance to you. Thank you so very much for all the love and support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Yes, I am Brother Minister Mongoose, and yes, I will holla back. Peace.